Every waiting staff ran from the rude, arrogant billionaire, until the new girl stood up to him. The Crystal Swan was the most expensive restaurant in the city, a place where billionaires treated a single meal like pocket change, and the staff were trained to smile through anything, no matter how rude the guest. Everyone on the team dreaded one particular regular, Damien Voss, tech billionaire, self-proclaimed visionary, and a man who treated waiters like disposable napkins. Every Friday night, he'd stride in with his entourage, clicking his fingers for service, barking orders, and making staff feel small. One Friday, as soon as his black limousine pulled up, the whispers started. "Oh no, not him again. I'll take a bathroom break. A long one. I'm not going near that table." Within seconds, every experienced server had disappeared into the kitchen or found another excuse. Everyone except the new hire. Her name was Emily. She'd been working there for exactly 3 days, just long enough to notice the strange silence that followed this man's arrival. The manager rushed to her side. "Emily, don't. I'll find someone else." But Emily had spent years waitressing in her small hometown, where farmers came in covered in mud, businessmen in pressed suits, and the occasional drunk tried to be funny at her expense. She didn't scare easy. She picked up a notepad, squared her shoulders, and walked straight to his table. Damien didn't even look at her at first. He was too busy scrolling through his phone. Without glancing up, he snapped, "Finally. I've been waiting for ages. Tell the chef I want the Wagyu, and make sure it's the real Wagyu, not the cheap garbage you peasants try to pass off." Emily didn't flinch. "Sir, I'll be happy to take your order when you're ready to treat me like a person instead of an inconvenience." That made him look up. His table went silent. His assistants stared at Emily like she'd just stepped into a lion's cage. Damien smirked. "Do you know who I am?" Emily's voice was calm. "Do you know who I am? I'm the one who decides if your dinner is served tonight. You might have billions, but here, your money doesn't buy the right to insult people." The air crackled. The other diners began to take notice, heads turning toward the exchange. Damien leaned back, clearly not used to pushback. After a pause, he chuckled, shaking his head. "All right, fine. I'll play nice. Bring me your recommendation." Emily smiled slightly. "Coming right up." She brought him a perfectly cooked steak along, with an attitude of unshakable respect for herself. Throughout the night, she treated him exactly like any other guest, polite, efficient, but never subservient. By dessert, Damien was different. He said, "Thank you," twice, and when he left, he tipped more than any waiter had ever seen from him. The next week, when his limo pulled up, he specifically asked for Emily, and though he still had an ego the size of his skyscraper, everyone noticed he never snapped at the staff again. All it took was one new girl who refused to run. The Crystal Swan was the crown jewel of downtown. Fine dining, crystal chandeliers glittered above polished marble floors, waiters moved like choreographed dancers, and every plate looked like art. But for the staff, there was one shadow that could turn any shift into a nightmare. That shadow had a name: Damien Voss. Tech billionaire, venture capitalist, owner of 3 yachts and 5 sports cars, each worth more than the restaurant's annual payroll. He had a habit of arriving unannounced, flanked by an entourage of assistants and hangers-on, making the staff his personal punching bag for the night. He wasn't just rude, he was creative about it. A single wrong look could get a waiter reduced to a trembling wreck. He once sent back a bottle of wine because the cork looked at him funny. Another time, he made a young busboy cry by demanding he wipe down the moonlight on his table. So when his black limousine rolled up outside one Friday evening, panic rippled through the dining room like a shockwave. "Not him again," whispered Liam, the senior waiter, already slipping into the kitchen. "I'm going to the restroom." "Indefinitely," muttered Clara, the bartender, ducking away. Within 30 seconds, Damien's regular corner table was deserted. Every waiter had found an urgent reason to be anywhere else. Everyone except the new girl. Emily Carter was 3 days into her job. 24, from a small town 2 hours away. She'd moved to the city, chasing better pay, and maybe a little adventure. Back home, she'd waitressed at a truck stop diner, where customers could be rowdy, crude, and downright unpredictable. She'd learned a simple rule there: if you let one person walk all over you, everyone else will try the same. The manager, Frank, saw her moving toward the billionaire's table and rushed over, eyes wide. "Emily, don't. That's Damien Voss," he whispered urgently. "Trust me, you don't want to be the one serving him." Emily's lips curved into a calm, unbothered smile. "Someone has to." Frank shook his head, muttering something about bravery and stupidity being close cousins, but didn't stop her. The approach Damien was scrolling through his phone when Emily arrived at his table. He didn't look up, just snapped his fingers sharply, as if summoning a servant. "Finally. I've been waiting forever. Get the chef, I want the Wagyu rare, and tell him if it's not the real thing, I'll know. I'll buy this place, just to fire him." Emily wrote nothing down. She simply stood there. "Is there a problem?" Damien asked, without looking up. "Yes," Emily said evenly. "You're speaking to me like I'm not a human being." The billionaire finally looked up, his steel gray eyes narrowing. The table went silent. "Do you know who I am?" he asked slowly, leaning back in his chair. "Yes," Emily said, her voice calm. "Do you know who I am? I'm the person who decides if your food gets to this table tonight." From nearby tables, a few diners froze, pretending not to listen, while clearly eavesdropping. The clash Damien smirked, the corner of his mouth twitching. "You've got nerve. Most people grovel when they meet me." "I'm not most people," Emily replied, unblinking. "You're a guest, and I'm here to give you great service. But respect is a two-way street, Mr. Voss. I walk away from one-way streets." His entourage shifted uncomfortably. They were used to Damien chewing people up for sport, not someone calmly holding their ground. After a pause, Damien leaned forward. "Fine. Surprise me. Bring me whatever you think I should have." Emily nodded once, coming right up. The turning point, she went to the kitchen, ignoring the shocked stares from her coworkers. "You just committed career suicide," Liam whispered. But Emily didn't see it that way. She plated him the restaurant's signature Wagyu steak, perfectly cooked with truffle, mashed potatoes, and a side of her own idea, a simple, fresh garden salad, something honest. When she returned, she set the plate down without flourish. "Your dinner," she said. Damien took a bite, chewed slowly, and smiled. It wasn't a smug smirk. It was small, almost genuine. "You've got guts, Emily," he said quietly. "Most people wouldn't dare talk to me like that." "Maybe that's your problem," she replied. The twists the rest of the night passed, without incident. Damien even said please and thank you, words the staff hadn't heard from him in years. When he left, he placed a thick envelope on the table. Inside was a $5,000 tip, but that wasn't the real surprise. The following week, Damien returned alone. No entourage, no barking orders. He asked for Emily by name, and when she approached, he said something no one expected. "I fired my last personal assistant. I want to hire you." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because you're the first person in a long time who's told me no. I need more of that in my life." Emily thought for a long moment, then shook her head. "Thanks, but I already have a job." Damien looked stunned. She leaned in and added with a smile, "And here, I'm not afraid to stand up to billionaires." For the first time in anyone's memory, Damien laughed. And over the next months, while he never became a saint, the entire staff noticed he never once treated them like they were beneath him, all because one new girl refused to run.